Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Set Listing Bruce, your podcast all about Bruce Springsteen, his music, mostly his fans, and lately about tickets and concerts and live shows. For those of you who are joining, we just had a wonderful roundtable. We had about 20 people join us to share all their thoughts, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And one of my favorite people, Mark Dempsey, had reached out to me before we had scheduled this and said, "Hey, let's do kind of a one-off. Let's just talk about tickets and everything going on." So, UK Mark, one of my best friends, the co-host of one of the best Dallas Cowboy podcasts out there in the internet. Mark, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Jesse. It's great to see you again. Really good to see you again. And it's normal that we talk about Bruce with real passion and real fun and real energy. This is going to be my first time really ever being a bit critical. It's been an interesting few weeks for me to be thinking about my stance on some things, my views on some things. But hey, it's always great to hear you and see you. And we've both had some pretty good luck with tickets in the last
Yeah,
few
we
months,
had.
right? So
Yes,
let's
we have.
celebrate. Let's
Yes,
celebrate
and
that.
as we're recording this, the Cowboys are in training camp, and so hope springs eternal. Though I'm trying to, like Chris said, my buddy, my son Chris is like, yes, we're all like, okay, we don't care till the playoffs and what, but he said that first touchdown, we're gonna go crazy. I'm like, yep, that's
Cowboy,
exactly it.
Cowboys are winning the Super Bowl. Simple
There
as
we
that.
go. All right. All right. So let's, in case someone has never heard an episode with you before, give us a little bit of background and then we'll start talking tickets.
Okay, so real quick. 48 years old, live in the UK. Bruce fan since I was 10 years old. 1984, heard Dancing in the Dark, and my whole life changed. You know the drill. Seen Bruce 66 times, mostly with the E Street Band, quite a few solo shows, one Broadway show, and just I'll say it this way: on any given day, at any given time, there is nowhere I would rather be than at a Bruce Springsteen concert.
Yeah, my buddy Sam said this and I stole it from him. We were talking and he said all apologies to Walt Disney saying the most magical place in the world is Disney World or Disneyland. He goes, a Bruce Springsteen concert is the most magical place in the world.
Yeah, the lights go out, they walk on stage, and whatever else you've got
Yeah.
going on at that time, however happy, sad, frustrated, tough
Yeah.
times are, your family is, the problems that
Yeah.
you've got going on, it just disappears, Jesse.
Yeah.
And as you know,
Yeah.
he brings the most incredible sense of joy and spirit, and I love his concerts with
Yeah.
all of my heart.
Yeah. Richard Hunter, who used to be in radio here in Dallas and does a pro wrestling podcast, talked about he's a pretty staunch atheist. And he said, the only church I attend is the Church of Springsteen.
Yeah,
And the nice thing about it is the only tithing is every few years he does a revival. You pay for a ticket, you celebrate in the Church of Springsteen, and then you move on.
yeah,
And it really is something magical.
yeah,
Um, but there is glueness in E Street world. There is a lot of unhappy people. There is a lot of people that are complaining. And I do think it is worth mentioning that we got some of this during Broadway. I remember all the people complaining about people going to Broadway more than once. And when I brought up, well, you try to get pit tickets more than once. Oh, that's totally different. Why? I mean, only so many people can get elbows on stage and you're trying to do it multiple times. Totally different, Jesse. Uh, okay. There are people that complained that he was doing river shows during the river tour, that I can't believe he's just doing the same set every day. This is all horrible. And then when he went to Europe, oh, I can't believe he's not doing the river in full.
He's not doing the river. He did
Yeah,
it once, and the European fans
yeah,
lost their minds, right? Yeah, I know.
yeah. So I think there is you have to take a grain of salt that the internet, it's easy for people it brings out the best, then it brings out the worst in people. So with that said, you said you've been thinking a lot about this, so I'd love to hear your thoughts and we'll kind of have a discussion.
So I know people listening to this won't be able to see it, but I'm going to share my screen with you right now because
Okay.
I literally just went on to ticketmaster.co.uk.
Mm-hmm.
So we're recording this.
And if it's okay with you, I'll put this video on my YouTube channel. So there. Okay, great.
Perfect.
Okay.
So this is live. I'm going to share my screen,
Yeah.
and this is as Ticketmaster in the UK stands right now. I'm going to share my screen. I know people listening can't necessarily see this, but I thought it'd be interesting context to look at what's happening right now. So we're recording this on August 1st.
Yes.
Tickets to the Birmingham Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band show went on sale 13 days ago, 14 days ago.
Okay.
And here's the position right now. You can still get pit tickets.
Mm-hmm.
That in itself to me is the most incredible statement I've heard said about a Bruce Springsteen concert in 20 years.
Okay.
There's dedicated front of stage pit tickets available 13 days after these tickets went on sale.
Okay.
It breaks my heart. £457, which is roughly $600. Add the taxes and fees and all the other things into that.
Mm-hmm.
You could come over to the UK right now. You could book that ticket. It would cost you more for the ticket than it would for you to jump on an American Airlines flight from Dallas to come to London.
Yeah.
I cannot understand how this has been allowed to get to this level where Bruce isn't even now selling out the pit section, which is where people have clamored to be for 2 decades, ever since the pit really started. This is where people have clamored to be, love to be, queue all day to get to the front of. The joy and the sense of camaraderie and spirit. And we're in a position now where tickets that originally went on sale for £200, £457, and then everything else that you have to pay. And it emphasizes to me the fact that as much as we all adore this man and his live show and being in the pit and getting down the front and seeing our friends, pit tickets are still available. People have literally said, I'm out.
Now,
and I was shocked. I looked at this a couple of days ago and I thought, wow, that's a story to share. They're still there available.
Are those resale tickets or those actual?
Nope,
No, those are actual tickets.
Those are
the
original Ticketmaster tickets.
And is that with dynamic pricing?
That is the impact of dynamic pricing. Those tickets would have been, let's call it £200. They're now £457.
Yeah.
There appeared to be quite some number left. You can also choose, if you wanted to spend more money than that. Here we go. If people are interested, you could choose to sit at the back of a section where you're not even guaranteed to see most of the stage.
Yeah.
You sit in this section here, you're probably not even seeing Max. Oh, £610 for a ticket that was probably 150, 160, 170.
Tickets, yeah.
So people are actually choosing, and the pit is the bit I'm astonished by, because of the clamor for pit tickets, the clamor to be down the front, the clamor to be part of that throng. And it was at that point when I thought to myself, people are choosing not to go and stand in the pit. Now I'm going to 8 European shows, all of which, by some some wonder, were not subject to dynamic pricing at the point when they went on sale. So almost every single one of the European shows I'm going to outside of the UK shows, I got front section standing at face value. And by face value, I mean $200, no more.
Did they go through Ticketmaster?
Most of them went through Ticketmaster,
Okay.
and those early European shows were not dynamically priced. Seems to have been the UK ones and then the US ones that all went on sale around about the same time. My point is this: I'm going to that show. So that show that I've just put up on the screen, the Birmingham show for the UK, I ended up having to make a choice to buy much cheaper seats than to go and do one of the things I love the absolute most. So I've drawn a line, and my friends, family, there's a line for you. Is there with Bruce? They're actually quite impressed. They're actually astonished. Oh, we never thought there was a line with you for Bruce. I've chosen all right seats, rather than pay £300 more for guaranteed down the front. It's astonishing to me. I've gone through the whole kind of 7 stages of grief thing with it. I'm trying to understand it. If it puts an end to scalping, well, that would be wonderful, but it's not going to put an end to scalping.
See, I don't know if you've gotten to hear, and if you guys are listened to the group discussion that I had, this is going to be a repeat. But I think one of the things that frustrates me and other fans is we hear all this, well, we have to do this to stop scalping. We have to do this because it's not fair that, and let's forget who gets what. Let's just say, Bruce's team gets $500 and the scalper gets $3,000 because the ticket was sold for $3,500, right? That's just not fair. That's not right. So we have to do this to stop scalping. Yet, as one person said, within hours of tickets going on sale, there are hundreds of resale tickets out there. Now, that either means that there is a bunch of people who, and I hate the word verified fan, so what I'm going to say is that they were a verified individual, right? Like Ticketmaster did some kind of look that, okay, this we do not think is a ticket bot. We think this is an individual person wanting to buy tickets. And either all of them bought and then decided, oh, I'm going to flip them, or something nefariously is going on. So I just had a guy, a U.S. senator that they just recently, the Senate voted to approve funding for veterans. Then when it came back, a lot of Republican senators voted not to approve it. And the senator said, there's either 2 reasons. One, you guys decided that in this space that it was a bad idea to support veterans, or 2, you got mad that other legislation passed and now then you're trying to prove a point. So, and not to get political, but I'm like, either there's a whole bunch of people that are saying they want to buy individual tickets and then reselling them, or there is something broken in the system that tickets that should go to a fan end up going to a broker.
Either to a broker, or incredibly, if you look at the number of resale tickets that were back on the Ticketmaster websites, and this isn't specific to one show, there were fans tracking this. Within a couple of minutes, Ticketmaster was advertising as part of the options that you could buy verified resale tickets. But literally, Jesse, like for an entire row, 25 straight seats. So so everyone in that row put those seats back on sale. You can't buy 25 seats. You can buy 4, maybe sometimes 6. So Ticketmaster, and I don't think I'm accusing them of anything here that isn't what they've done. Ticketmaster put those back on sale themselves and called them resale tickets.
And I have said, I think the only thing that will make everyone happy is that if everyone gets to go to the shows they want in the section they want, paying the price they want to pay. I
Yeah.
think that's the only thing that will make everyone happy. But I do feel like I got lucky, or maybe I don't know. In my mind, I don't want to pay over 250 a ticket. And
Yeah.
you know, because two of the shows I knew I needed three tickets because Linda, Chris, and have, since the tour, Chris has become a much bigger fan. Linda has always said, I like going to one or two shows, and I think it would be fun to go with Chris. So I knew that Dallas, which was his birthday, I needed three tickets, and Tulsa, because that's an easy drive. And when we went to Tulsa this past summer to see the Bob Dylan Museum, we didn't get to go all the way through the Woody Guthrie Museum. We just ran out of time. So like, oh, this will be a nice little family vacation, right? So I knew I needed, you know, whatever I'm paying per ticket, it's got to be by three. And so I was able to get three upper section for about 180. Now, normally I would have paid about 125 for that bad of a ticket.
Yeah.
But I do agree with someone who says part of the dynamic pricing that's devious is you see other tickets going for 350, 400, and you go, oh, 180 all in? That's not too bad.
That's one. So I've got two points. So
Please.
I
Yes.
wanted to say that is, in a nutshell, one of the. I mean, it's funny, right? Bruce talks about everything on the boardwalk is tinged with
Yeah.
fraud,
Yeah.
right? Magic tricks, all of
Yes.
that. Well, Ticketmaster were listening to Broadway,
Yeah.
because the big magic trick here is, oh Jesus, I might have to pay $750. I feel really good about paying $275 for a seat in the 400s behind the stage.
Yeah.
So you walk away feeling like you've won. Okay, I'm in the building. That's great. Whereas
Yes.
actually, if everyone, and this is the impossible thing to do,
Yes.
if everyone holds off and stops and waits, the new world order of ticket buying is going to be, don't go and try and buy tickets on the first day they go on sale.
Right.
But that robs us, Jesse, of the thing that many of us love to do. It's one of the stories that comes out in your podcast time after time is, oh, hey, which 5 cities are we going to go to? Hey,
Yeah.
where are we going to go that we haven't gone before? This is literally my wife and I, and also with a couple of friends, for the 2 months you're kind of planning of the European tour. Hey, tickets are coming. These shows are being rumored. Then suddenly they're released. Then more are announced. So my wife and I went through this process of, okay, we really want to go to a show early on the tour. We've seen him in Dublin before. It's great. Let's try Dublin. Want to go and see Italy. Don't want to go to Milan and Rome. We've been there a ton. Hey, he's playing near Bologna. Let's go there. Vienna's one of our favorite cities that we've ever been to. We've had a really great Bruce experience there in the past. Haven't been to Vienna for 13 years. Let's go back to Vienna. So we went through that process. It's fun. It's engaging. You get to plan. You get to think about where you're going to go. We're going to end up being robbed of all of that fun because it's going to become, well, let's just see which tickets are around 5 weeks before the shows go on sale, and pick the cities where there's a $200 ticket available.
And the issue is, if you're going to travel, and I know everyone listening to this podcast gets that, but if for some reason you are a coworker of Mark's, or you found us because of his cowboy podcast, you're going, holy crap, what do you mean you travel to go? That is one of the things you do. And so by not having that chance, because I had the same thing. I said before tickets were announced, I said, I'm hoping that he either comes to Dallas, Austin, or Houston, and Oklahoma City. That's the ones he's been to lately.
Yeah.
And And my buddy Sam said, "Oh, he'll do all three." And I go, "He never does all three.
Never.
Never. He never does." And then, he did. So I'm immediately like, "Oh my goodness, within a span of 3 weeks, I can see four shows and not necessarily have to pay for a hotel room." Now, we're going to end up doing some things and that making a little trip out of it. So I am like everyone else. I have my ticket, I have a meeting Outlook reminder, I have my phone, that giving me a reminder at 10 minutes before it's on to go in there and get. Would it be smarter for me not to go? Yes, if everyone else does. But the problem is not everyone else is going to do that.
And then I can deal with being online on the day the tickets go on sale. I've been doing it for however many years, as
Yeah.
has anyone listening to this, right? I can deal with, oh, I missed. Sucks. I missed every now and again. I can deal with that. It's disappointing. I might not go to a city I wanted to go to. I might not get down the front in the pit. I might be somewhere else. I can deal with the disappointment of it when the system is entirely fair and hey, I could pay $70, I could pay $130, I could pay $200. I'll deal with that. I can deal with the disappointment. I can't deal with a stacked deck that says, not only are you not going to know the price that you might have to pay, but you actually may end up having to give up altogether and just wait months and then see. That to me ruins the essence of the whole philosophy of community and planning. And I intend to spend 8 days with Bruce Springsteen in 2023. And here we are in the middle of 2022 getting stressed and worried about whether or not we're going to be able to do that. I would also say, I feel as bad as I feel for me that maybe the time has come when you can't just pre-plan everything a year and ahead.
Yeah.
I feel worse for the fan that wants to go once to their hometown show and can't, or actually had the chance to get pit tickets and then they were taken away from them because the price got dynamically changed in front of them and they had to settle for a restricted view in the 400s behind the stage, or even worse, can't go, just full stop, can't go. As bad as I feel for me and the likes of us that travel and will find a way and will get to shows, I'm devastated reading these stories on Twitter about people going, okay, I guess I'm not going then.
Yeah, I agree. One of the things that made me very sad is people telling me, well, just this is the first tour I won't go to. And, this is just, and I'm like, oh, that breaks my heart.
Oh, it's awful.
Well, just don't give up hope. Let's wait and see. And the other thing is there is a lot of time left between now and when the tour is. Now, you have to pay for airlines, you have to get planned tries, hotel tickets if you're going to see something out of town. But if it's your home show, I say have a little faith. There might be magic in the night, right? Like just let's keep hoping. Yeah.
But you've hit, it's interesting, you've hit the nail on the head there. That's something I hadn't really thought about. Well, how much are these tickets actually going to drop? So let's say someone in the US has always wanted to see Bruce in the UK or someone in Australia or so, and they're looking at the tickets that I just showed you.
Yeah.
Aston Villa Football Club next year, Birmingham. If that 450 drops to 350, then maybe I could go. But in the next 6, 7, 8 months, while that person has to wait for Bruce's ticket to drop by £150 or £200, every single airline ticket and every single hotel within 100 miles of the Birmingham stadium where Bruce is going to be playing is going to be going up.
Yeah.
So this whole thing of, well, prices might drop is just this false narrative of, well, yeah, but every single other element to do with planning your trip is going to get more expensive.
Yeah. And I think, I remember someone saying this a long time ago. Um, Someone was going to go to their first comic book convention, and
Sure.
the guy said, "Okay, figure out what you want to spend. Um, then do 50% on top of that, so you truly have a hard ceiling,
Yeah.
and then leave your credit cards at home, leave your checkbook at home." This is back when there were checks, because you will see things in the dealer room that you go, "Oh my God, I must have this," right?
Yeah.
So I almost want to say the same thing going into when tickets go on sale. In your mind, what is the most you will pay for what section? And then you have to live with it, um, or you will get ticket remorse, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. And this is the first this is the first set of arena shows in the
Yeah,
US that I am not going to since 2002. Now, a lot of that time, I lived in
sure.
Canada,
Yeah,
and went down to quite a few of them. My wife and I luckily had made a decision, because now we're back in the UK. We
right.
haven't seen Bruce and the E Street Band in Europe since 2009.
Okay.
So we moved to Canada in 2011. So the whole E Street Band circus that ran from 2012 to the end of 2016, we
Okay.
saw all those shows in the US and Canada. So we made a decision, hey, let's invest in seeing him in Europe. We haven't done that in what will be 13, 14 years.
Yeah.
And I feel very lucky that we had made that decision, as opposed to saying, hey, I'd love to be, because every single part of, 10-year-old Mark, as we've referred to 10-year-old Mark
Yeah.
before, every single part of 10-year-old Mark wants to be in Tampa on night one,
Yeah.
right? First E Street Band shows in what, 6.5 years.
Yeah.
I'd love to be there. Well, hey, I still could be.
Yeah.
There are tickets available.
Yeah.
There, and here's my other point, right? It's night one of the Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band tour, and they haven't played in what will be 6.5 years.
Yeah.
And there's tickets available. Now, every part of me wants to go, okay, there's tickets available. I can jump on a plane. I can buy a $450 ticket and sit at the back behind the stage. I There's a part of me that thinks, do I want it that much that I'm going to sit there and go, I'm looking from behind a pillar and
Yeah.
I'm looking at the back of Charlie's head.
Yeah.
Like, you say about ticket remorse. For the first time in my life, I'm actually doing some kind of value equation
Hmm.
with Bruce. It's
Yeah.
it's baffling to me.
So I didn't get into this with the other group, but you and I are friends. There's a safe space. A couple people said for the first time they ever felt that Bruce was punching down, that he was beating up the little guy. So
Yeah.
I and I said this multiple times, I said I think you have to separate, first off, you have to separate the artist, from the business part of the art. I also think that when he talks about no one wins unless everyone wins, he's talking politically and socially, not entertainment wise. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, because you had said for the first time you kind of had some mixed emotions.
I've Bruce hasn't done very much that I haven't liked, right?
Yeah.
Uh, my friends and family and a few people that will be listening to this will be like, you'd listen to him if he was writing Christmas carols. You'd listen to him if probably I would.
Yeah,
I am
absolutely.
not. I am not awfully critical of what he's done, because actually, I am a very large fan of almost everything he has done.
Right.
Value for money wise, I've never really regretted a single penny I've spent on the man. As critical as I get of him
Yeah.
is kind of, Real Man was not a very good song. I didn't particularly care for the arrangements on Western Stars. And I think there were maybe two shows that I ever went to of his that were fine, as opposed to being,
Yeah. Yeah.
Grand Slam home runs.
Right.
I find myself in the position for the first time ever of having to go through a process of, uh, was this him or was this Ticketmaster? Well, I think it was Ticketmaster. I think it was the algorithm. I think they all got surprised. I'm sure there's a statement coming out. Oh, there's no statement coming out. That's weird.
Yeah.
Maybe it will all get addressed in the next round of tickets. Oh no, they still seem to be doing this. That's a bit strange. Landau then comes out with something that was so awful he should have not said anything.
That was by far the consensus of everyone in
Just
the
don't say
roundtable.
anything.
Yeah.
Just don't say anything. And now I'm at the point of view of, well, the Stones have done it and McCartney has done it and some other people have done it. And it's been presented to him as, hey, there's a way to make considerably more money than the sum net total of the tickets that are on sale at a certain price, right? Because if we agree to this, everyone on the other end of this makes more money and they'll pay us more money.
Yeah.
So
and that means you can pay your crew more, you can pay your musicians more.
Sure.
I mean, all
not that they negotiate with Bruce, by the way, which we know from various documentation.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
They are negotiating with considerably harder negotiators than Bruce. And I doubt that Nils Lofgren is making considerably more money this tour than he did on the last one.
Yeah. Well, and remember, Bruce made that comment in his autobiography when someone said, I wanted to be paid more. And he said, you find a higher player person at your instrument and I will match it, but you won't because you're the highest paid person. You're
on a pretty good deal. So they can't come out and say any of that. They can't come out and critique it. I have a feeling that the final couple of sets of shows that went on sale, the algorithm was softened a little bit. There seems to be
maybe
more people saying, hey, I got $200 tickets. I'm in. I got 4 tickets. It cost me $900. There seemed to be more of that.
Yeah.
Here's where I have landed with this.
Okay.
This idea that Bruce and Landau were told, everyone else is doing it. It's becoming the industry norm. It will, to a degree, help you stop scalping. You may have to put up with the fact that your shows aren't going to technically sell out immediately, but don't worry, they probably will. They probably weren't ready for the backlash, the furore that they've had. That it does appear to have been considerably worse than any of the other bands.
Yeah.
I think they liked the idea of the industry is moving in this direction and everyone makes more money. The promoter will give you 30% more than whatever millions you were going to get from playing each of your shows. I have never begrudged Bruce a penny.
Right.
I've never worked out how much I've given him in album sales, t-shirt sales, concert sales. I've never worked out any of that because I don't care.
Yeah.
I am very concerned that someone within his organization and Bruce at the end of Broadway looked at the balance sheet and went, oh Jesus, we need to be charging more money for our concert tickets. Yeah. And that is a very, very sour taste to leave in my mouth, because Broadway was all about, well, there are very specific rules with pricing tickets on Broadway, everyone. You know, the whole stuff that came out, we were all being taught to like children. We were all being told, you know, it's Broadway pricing. You know, $900 is just what you pay. You want to go and see someone else on Broadway, it's $900 for the front seat.
Yeah.
Deal with it, man up, buy your tickets or don't buy your tickets.
Yeah.
Right. I have a sneaky feeling that two things happened. They looked at the per capita seat price that was going at Broadway, and then they looked at what people were spending on StubHub, 10x.
Yeah.
Right. I put my hands up. I took a long time to decide I actually wanted to go and see Broadway. It surprised a lot of people that I took so long to decide I wanted to go and see Broadway. And in the end, I said, if we're going to do this, we do it right. We go on my 45th birthday, and we'll set a maximum and we'll pay.
Yeah.
I bought $75 tickets in the top back row and paid 10x for me and my wife. We went on my birthday. I was completely at peace with it.
Okay.
I have a simple theory now that they looked at the prices that were being paid on StubHub and said, we'll have that. Thank you very much. And I think Broadway, and I don't want to damage, it was one of the great nights of my life. Jesse, we've talked about this. One of the great nights of my life. I don't resent a penny of what I paid. I would probably have paid double, but it leaves a very sour taste in the mouth if they got to the end of that Broadway run and went, "Oh, these idiots spend money like nobody's business. Just charge them more. Just charge them more, and we'll make more."
I think I think what you said there is really well said, Mark, is that I, I don't want, and this sounds so egotistical, I don't want Bruce to take my fandom for granted.
Yeah,
Right. I haven't had anyone else talk about that. And I think if we sum it up, maybe that's it. You know, you just just because you can charge that much doesn't mean you should, right? Don't, now I am totally, I, I want to, I want to politely laugh at people that say, hey, with $500 million coming from Sonny, he should do a free show.
no,
Okay. I don't see anybody else working. If you got a big bonus, you didn't say, okay, hey, thanks for that bonus. I'll work free for the next couple of months. I mean, at your job, no. It's two different buckets. Um, and I I don't know. I mean, I think there's some practical things we could do. One, I do think it should be able to say, here is the base price. And here is the like Uber pricing, surge pricing.
sure.
It's
Yeah,
Uber says this is now 5 times the rate. And you go, yes, I want that, or no, I don't.
yeah.
I
I'll go and wait in a coffee shop for
Yeah,
45 minutes,
yeah,
or I'll get in my Uber in 2 minutes time. Fine.
yeah, yeah. But Ticketmaster doesn't do that. It just says it's $4,000 now. That's the price, not
And,
10 times X.
yeah, and kicking people out on a very significant basis. People losing the tickets that they thought they had.
Yeah,
I I'm I'm completely with you.
yeah,
Uh, Back to the point of I don't begrudge him the chance to make more money.
yeah,
I don't. I would suggest big arena, 20,000 people, 25,000 people. Do the Broadway thing. Put the top tier on at $40, $45, $50. The people that just, you know, want to be in the building and want to see Bruce because they've
yeah,
seen him on every tour since 74, or
yeah.
because they've never seen him
Right.
and they really think this is their chance to go and see him. But times are tough, right? Which Bruce sings about all the time.
Yeah,
Times are tough. Stuff's happening. The economy is
yeah,
tanking in many, many countries. Yes, I can justify $75 to go and see Springsteen. I'm going to be in the 400s. I'm going to go and have some beers and party with some friends and dance all night. Wonderful. That is the essence of people being in a Bruce Springsteen concert, right?
yeah,
First time I've seen him in a very long time. I want him to play Dancing in the Dark, and I want him to play Hungry Heart, and I want to have a beer and a burger, and I just want to dance.
yeah,
Wonderful. That person is being killed on this tour.
yeah,
That
they are.
person probably isn't going. I would I would rather the pit and the seats, the premium seats around the banking of the stage and the pit. Fine, put a 25% premium on those.
Yeah,
I'll pay sometimes and I won't pay other times. Make more money from me at the shows where I'm really going to pay to be in the
yeah.
pit. Don't make it from the guy that is not going to be in the venue because the seat half a mile away from the stage is $400.
And the issue is we don't know how to do that. We don't know because if you put those tickets as $50, some corporation will buy them and then sell them for 200. It's just that's the reality, you know? And I heard people say, you know what, Jesse, we should go back to you should camp overnight. You should have to stand in line. I'm like, okay. And if you don't live in Jersey, do you want to walk in? Do you want to wait for the gas station attendant to come in and fill your tank? Do you want to now have to get in your car and drive to the office because we no longer can telecommute? You know? Uh,
Let's not go back to those days.
right. Yeah. I mean,
Whatever we do,
yeah.
whatever we do.
the reality is that just doesn't make, I mean, you can't unadvance technology. And
No,
um, I have said this before and I will repeat it. I I have spent 5 seconds with the man in Austin.
yeah,
That's it. I got my 5 seconds. I got my 2 pictures with him. I got my signed book. And so I have been doing over 850 episodes of this podcast. September will be my 7-year anniversary, and he doesn't know me from Adam. I doubt if his team even knows there is a Set Listing Bruce podcast, but you know, he has been my companion for this part of the ride, to quote him. And
correct.
so I am that guy that your friends are saying there is not much. I do not know what he can do to make me turn on him. And I am a little surprised at the anger of people out there in the fandom because of the circumstances.
I've been very, very surprised. I mean, the big one is Chris Phillips at Backstreets.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I've read everything that Backstreets have put out in a very, very long time. I used to get their magazines.
Yeah.
I've got the couple of books that they've done, and I avidly rely upon their website for for fan based content, but
Yeah.
pretty clear, pretty unbiased, pretty good reporting.
Yeah.
Just I rely upon them. The visceral tone that came out of their emails and the interview that he did, and the content that they put out, that was what really surprised me. And kudos to them. Good for them for putting something out so scathing, and rightly. I was most impressed and surprised by that.
So
But
I don't agree with that anger. I just don't. I can't. And I'm not saying they don't have the right for that opinion. I just can't. I can't understand that anger and that blind, um, the feeling that Bruce has betrayed the fandom. I can't understand that feeling.
do you know? Okay, that's a very interesting point. I let me get this right in my head. What I'm trying to say here. I think it comes back to what I said earlier.
Yeah.
I'm almost more. Angry is a really interesting word, isn't it? I'm almost more angry about the one guy or girl that can't go to a show now than I am about how I feel about the prices that I might have to pay in the future.
Yeah.
That's what I feel. I am I angry about, well, clearly now I'm not going to be going to the US leg of the tour. No, I've been to lots in the past. I'll probably go to some in the future. I might go to a US stadium show or two in August, September 2023.
Well, if you
When
can time it up with a Cowboy game, right?
ideally,
Right. Like,
ideally,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, ideally a Cowboy game. That's good. I feel frustrated. I feel let down that they just followed the path that others have taken.
right.
I feel a bit disillusioned that they didn't come out and say, because I do genuinely think, I still think this. I think they were surprised at how nonsense those prices were on those first couple of on sales.
Yeah.
They have to $4,000-5,000 for some tickets.
Yeah.
They have to have been surprised by that.
Yeah.
So come out and say that. This was very surprising.
Yeah.
Like, come out and say that. I mean, if Landau or someone had come out and said, this was very surprising. I don't think we're going to do anything about it, but this was very surprising.
Yeah.
Right? I would probably have had an awful lot more respect for them. Right?
Yeah.
I would have had more respect. I would have had more respect for, we agreed to this. Jesus, we got caught out.
Yeah.
We're not changing the rules. We're not changing this. We've agreed to it. It's the way the industry's going. Everyone's going to have to deal with this. I'd have so much more respect for them.
But I think that's kind of what he said. he said, hey, what this is what our peers are doing, and we think for the value. The other thing I find I'm a little is the anger mark at when Ticketmaster puts out these tickets and the thoughts of the percentages, this is almost as if the nothing they say they're going to believe. If you were a politician on the right, there's nothing the left is going to believe you saying. If you are a politician on the left, there's nothing that someone on the right is going to believe. And they could have opened the books and people would have said, no, Ticketmaster, you're lying. These did not go at face value.
Yeah, the problem with that is Ticketmaster may end up being the boy that cried wolf.
Yeah.
Right. Ticketmaster have screwed fans for years. No one's
Sure.
really ever believed that the verified fan system works well. No one's ever really believed that they put all the tickets on sale that they're meant to put on sale at one time. No one's ever really believed that waiting rooms work right. Ticketmaster are the boy that cried wolf.
Yeah.
They may have done this perfectly, and no one, including me, is going to believe them.
Oh yeah, I agree.
My gripe here,
yeah,
to some degree, is not really with Ticketmaster. At the point where John Landau management and Bruce agree a fee with the producer, the promoter, I should say, and at the point when they then price the tickets and tell Ticketmaster, hey, here's the core price of the tickets, that none of that is to do with Ticketmaster, none of it.
Yeah.
Now, have they gone over and above that and significantly screwed fans and caused an awful lot of hardship? Yes, they have. Yeah. They really have. My gripe here isn't really even with Ticketmaster. The moment you build in an algorithm saying, hey, if there's 100,000 fans for 20,000 tickets, make the tickets more expensive.
So it comes back in your mind, this is a Springsteen management issue.
Yeah, that's yes. And I'm still, you asked me this a few minutes ago, I'm still trying to convince myself to say I'm angry with Bruce.
Yeah.
I'm still actually trying to make myself say the words. I don't know. I don't actually, do you know what? I've kind of moved on to the apathy stage.
Yeah.
I'm very, very sad. It ruins part of the experience. I hate for the person that can't go, like I've said a few times. That's what I am most cross about. But hey, can I finish this off with a positive message?
Before you do that, I wanted to tell you, I was so depressed of hearing all the anger and all the visceral tweeting and posting.
Yeah.
And a couple people actually emailed me directly, DM me directly, and said, I can't believe you're defending Bruce, Jesse. Like you seem to have no empathy for us, and attacked me. I honestly gave a thought about, do I just quit doing this podcast?
No, don't do that.
No, I'm just telling you, that was my feelings. Like, is this just and my issue is I have no problem with someone being mad at Bruce or his management. I'm just saying, I don't understand that. I just can't equate a business transaction with the joy that this man's music has given me. I'm able to separate them. I'm not saying anyone else has to. And
yeah, that's well said. And your Jess editorial was excellent and very well positioned. And it reminded me at an important moment, right? I had Bruce's music played at my mother's funeral. I had Bruce's music read out at my wedding.
Mm-hmm.
The number of Christmas cards I received from people, birthday cards I received from people that say oh, I heard Bruce on the radio the other day, I thought of you, from halfway around the world, or they quote some line, or in Christmas cards I get people all the time from around the world. Santa Claus is coming to town, musical notes, right? Because they think of me and they think of Bruce, or they think of Bruce and they think of me. It's incredible. It's incredible, and the connection that we have to this man is fantastic. I wouldn't change a second of it across the 38 years that he's been inspiring me and bringing me joy. I really wouldn't.
Yeah.
And but we are allowed to be, we're allowed to be angry, we're allowed to be cross, we're allowed to be confused,
Yeah.
because what's happened in the last 2 months is very confusing.
So,
It's very confusing.
so I just thought of this. Someone said this a while back, and I think this is how I would put it. I'm not saying I want a divorce from Bruce, but that SOB is sleeping on the couch for a couple of days. Right? He is going to sleep on the couch for a couple of days because I'm not happy with him right now.
So look, jump forward 9 months. The band walk out on stage. They start, and I tell you, it's going to be Burning Train. They start, the organ starts, Max starts, Neil
Yeah.
starts, Bruce. It's all forgotten, right? No,
Yeah.
it's all forgotten. Everyone's just going to be singing.
Yes, I do think I always thought it was Burning Train too. I think Ghost is another one that could certainly be a thought. But when I heard Burning Train, I pictured that just them coming on stage and going with it. So
That's how they're going to walk on stage. I'll take it every single night as the
yeah,
opener.
yeah,
I said to you on a previous podcast that song blew me away. It still blows
yeah,
me away. I have it on very, very, very regular repeat.
yeah.
So could I
Please
try and
finish
balance
this
this
up.
out?
Yes.
Okay. Here is the thing I am most happy about on this tour. I've never really done it before. I'm I'm not a selfish person at heart. When it comes to Bruce, I'm very selfish. I get myself a ticket. I sometimes get my wife a ticket, and then good luck to anyone else. I really, really, really wanted this tour to be about helping some other people reconnect with some people, see some friends, get some people in a stadium. I cannot tell you how excited I am. We managed to get one of my very, very best friends from Toronto, from our time living in Toronto. I was in his band playing Springsteen covers. I've told you about this before. Tickets to both nights in Dublin that we're in Dublin. He's coming over from Toronto. He had a nightmare. He was online at 3 a.m. Toronto time. Couldn't get his credit card to get accepted. He called me up. I was like, "Leave it with me. I'll get back in. I'll find a way. I'll get you tickets." Got the guy tickets. We were then able to get another set of very, very dear friends from Toronto, husband and wife, tickets. They were coming over for 6 or 7 shows in a row, kind of all across Scandinavia. But they realized the way that tickets were going on sale, they were just never going to have a chance with the second night in Oslo. They were just never going to have a chance because they were buying tickets to other things. So I was like, screw it. I took 2 hours off work because sat at my computer where I am right now at my kitchen table, and by just God's mercy, as Bruce might put it, I'm literally one of the first people in. I hadn't even planned to go to Oslo. I was so excited I was going to get them tickets. I got 4 tickets, not 2, and then had to surprise my wife, who got home from work that afternoon, with the news that we're going to Oslo next year, as well as all of the other things.
That's awesome.
I was so happy. Then for Copenhagen, my sister had said she really wanted to take her young boys. I've taken my sister to 1 show in the past, years ago on the reunion tour. And she dropped me a note just before the European tickets were going on sale saying, "Oh, I'd love to take my boys." She's got 2, like an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old. I'd love to find a way to take them. My wife and I got into the Copenhagen. We were sitting here with 2 laptops, 2 pads, 2 phones, 6 things going, right?
Yeah.
We were so determined we were going to get tickets to both nights in Copenhagen, because Catherine, my wife, is half Danish. So we have a ton of family over there. It's incredible when it happens. We got in on a couple of devices at the same time, to the point where my wife could get tickets to Copenhagen, and then I could get tickets to Copenhagen night 1 for my sister and her kids and her partner.
Aww.
So I look back on this tour, which hasn't even happened yet. I look back on this tour. That's the wrong phrase, right? I look on this tour as being, wow, I'm able to help friends, family reconnect, see Bruce, I'm really super proud of the fact we were able to do that. But that ties back to, imagine I'd been trying to promise that in the US,
Yeah.
and you suddenly get told that that ticket is now $800.
Yeah. And I think the other thing this took away from us is, and this was also Broadway, is there were a percentage of people. I think the majority of Bruce fans are like you. You said, Jesse, my heart was filled with joy when I saw that you got tickets. And
Yeah,
I think most of us do feel that way. When we see someone got tickets, we are thrilled for them. But there is a percentage of people, because of the circumstances, that are angry and resentful that someone got tickets. And that's sad. That is a sad situation, because Bruce, that's not
no,
what we East Streeters do.
no, no. That's not how we do this.
Yeah, exactly.
If you want to be in a show, I'm glad you got tickets.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mark, this was great. Thank you for staying up a little bit late. I know you got to get back to work. This was your dinner hour, evening
Yeah.
hour, your tea hour, I guess. If someone wants to reach you, how can they?
Okay. On Bruce Springsteen or Dallas Cowboys related topics, on Twitter at MKD1973. Uh, and I hope to see as many people as possible in various pits and fields and parks and stadiums around the world next year as possible. I hope, Jesse, I hope to meet lots of people that love talking to you as much as I love talking to you.
Yeah, I am really hoping um I know a lot of people want to get in the pit, but for those of people who aren't in the pit, I'm trying to figure out, like in Tulsa, can we set up a happy hour like around 4? And for those people who don't have to get in line for pit, let's do kind of a happy hour and visit with people. I will be having my recorder, and I will be walking around, asking people to give comments, and we'll do
Nice,
episodes of that. So as
nice.
always, Mark, I appreciate you. Thank you. You were very kind. I overslept on Sunday when we were supposed to record, and so I'm glad we could do this. Listeners, it's okay. It's okay. You've got Bruce on the couch. I understand you're mad at him right now, but remember, overall, he's a pretty good companion. So, after a while, you know, forgive him. And let's all see each other on tour. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, listeners. We'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.